After 15 years of dedication, I resigned, causing chaos in the company and financial trouble because my father favored my younger brother over me. Hello everyone, before we begin today's video, I need your help. We've noticed that the channel is losing traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's quick, free, and allows us to continue bringing you great content. Your support means everything. Let us keep this channel growing together. Thank you very much. Now, let's begin the video. Hello Reddit, long-time lurker and first-time poster. I had to get this off my chest before I lost my sanity. If you don't want to read my son's tale, you can find the TLDR at the bottom. So, I'm a 34-year-old male who has been working for my father's plumbing firm, Taylor & Sons Plumbing, for 15 years. The son section is supposed to be about me and my younger brother Matt, 31M, but it's more like Taylor and his favorite son. And the other one who does all of the work. My father founded this company around 30 years ago. A classic small business story. We started with just him in a van and now have 15 plumbers, 3 office workers, and are one of the larger plumbing companies in our community. And I'm not being arrogant when I suggest that most of that growth occurred after I joined. After high school, I attended college to study business management for 4 years, earning an official degree. Meanwhile, my brother Matt barely graduated high school and required 6 years to complete a 2-year degree at a community college. While I was studying, he was uploading gym selfies and making his way around the local bar scene. After graduation, I returned home to work for my family's business. Dad emphasized the need of learning from the ground up, so I spent 3 years as a plumber's assistant, unclogging toilets, crawling beneath houses, and dealing with others' physical. Fine, whatever. I got it. Can't manage plumbers if you don't know what they do. I worked my way up, obtained my master plumber's license, which is a massive pain in the ass, BTW, and learned scheduling, inventory, and all of the boring but essential stuff that keeps a business running. I worked 60-hour weeks for years, missed my friends' weddings due to emergency calls, and did not date for around 5 years. Who has time? Then I finally made it. I became operations manager about 5 years ago. I began implementing all of the systems I had been planning. Digital scheduling, better inventory management. Follow-up calls following jobs. Our reviews went from 3.5 to 4.8 stars. Revenue increased by 40% in 2 years. Dad genuinely appeared impressed for once. Then Matt shows up. Enter Matt. Until now, my brother had been bouncing between bartending and finding himself. Suddenly, he decides he wants to join the family business. Keep in mind that this guy has never exhibited any interest in plumbing. I can't tell the difference between PVC and copper pipe. I think a P-trap is something you use to catch animals. But Dad is absolutely thrilled. His golden boy has finally joined the family legacy, and this is where everything goes to hell. Dad offers Matt a made-up title like Director of Client Relations, and a salary that is 80% of mine, despite the fact that I've been there a decade longer. Matt is assigned an office with a window. Meanwhile, I am still in the converted closet adjacent to the restroom. What's his job? Taking clients to lunch. We're posting on our social media. Occasionally showing up at project sites to photograph our plumbers working, always making sure to include himself in the shot, as if he's overseeing. He arrives around 10 a.m., has 2-hour lunch breaks, and departs at 4 p.m., due to traffic. Every staff meeting, Dad compliments Matt on bringing in some minor contract while completely disregarding the fact that I recently optimized our whole billing system and saved us $50,000 per year. It's as if I'm invisible. There was one instance when I spent weeks putting together a bid for this massive commercial project, the largest contract we'd ever pursued. I'm talking about binder-thick proposals. I even pulled an all-nighter to finish it. On the day of the meeting, Dad brings Matt along. Matt had not read a single page of the proposal. Matt, who was hungover, kept racing to the bathroom. Matt, who described the client's building as that big place with the sign, throughout the meeting. We received the deal anyway since my figures were good. On the drive back, Dad couldn't stop gushing about Matt's connection with their team and how his people skills sealed the deal. My contribution? Dad commented that my attention to detail was beneficial. Helpful. As if I were the freaking office assistant. Moms know better when I try to talk to her about it. She gives me a sad expression and says things like, "You and your brother are just different kinds of people. Not everyone can be as organized as you are." As if competence were a character fault. The final straw. One day, I overheard Dad speaking with Matt in his office. The door wasn't completely closed. Dad was talking about succession planning. When you take over the company, and asked Matt if he wanted to learn about the finances. My name did not come up. Not even once, Not even, maybe your brother can help you with the accounting, or something. The company I helped establish. The company I've dedicated my entire adult life to. And I am not even considered a prospective future owner. Just the workhorse who keeps things going while Matt takes the spotlight. Keeping my head down. I kept my head down and finished the work. It was not like I could do something about it. Then, around 9 months ago, our administrative assistant quit. She had been with us for 5 years but received a better offer elsewhere. Dad said we needed to hire someone with more office management experience because we were expanding. Enter Julie, 29 Fahrenheit. Something resonated with me the moment she walked through the door for her interview. She walked with confidence, her dark hair was always in a perfect bun, and her emerald eyes seemed to see right through all the bogus corporate BS. She wasn't one of Matt's typical Instagram model types, but she was stunning in a refined, put-together sense. Her resume? Impressive as hell. Business degree. Experience managing offices for firms far larger than ours. There are numerous accounting software and business operations certifications available. Dad was so thrilled that he hired her on the spot. Something he never does. Julie changes everything. How about her first week? She thoroughly restructured our filing system, which hadn't been updated since the 1990s. Is this her second week? She discovered $20,000 in unpaid invoices from the previous year and collected it. Is this her third week? She confronted my father about our antiquated scheduling system and persuaded him to invest in the software I had been yearning for years. I was essentially in love. We started having lunch together in the break room. We initially discussed only work-related topics. Then we realized we both enjoyed the same true crime podcasts. Then I discovered she enjoys hiking, which I do as well. Then there were movies, novels, and all that. It was so simple to chat to her, unlike those awful Tinder dates where you're trying to think of anything to say. Asking her out after a few months of the lunch thing, I finally got the nerve to ask her out. For real. Dinner on Friday night at that new Thai restaurant downtown. Not the break room, with our sad Tupperware meals. She agreed right away, smiling in a way that made me feel like I wasn't simply the family doormat. We scheduled it for the following Friday. I was ridiculously excited. I even caught myself whistling while fixing a sink on one job site, which completely confused the apprentice working with me. I did not inform anyone at work about our date arrangements. My family has a specific gift for spoiling anything nice that occurs to me, so I decided to remain silent until things got serious. A big mistake. The gut punch. 2 days before our date, I was returning from work when I heard Julie giggling in the hallway. That genuine chuckle was something I had worked hard for weeks to obtain. But she was not laughing at what I said. She was chuckling about something Matt said. As I approached the corner, I noticed them standing far too close together at the coffee machine. Matt was performing his famous lean against the wall, "Look how cool I am" posture. He was showing her something on his phone, and she was genuinely interested in whatever rubbish he was spewing. "Hey, Ryan," Matt said as he noticed me, using that false brotherly tone he saves for when other people are present. "Just showing Julie those kayaking pics from last weekend." Kayaking? Matthew. The guy who complains about having to walk from his automobile to a restaurant while it's raining. The guy who once asked me if the river near our house included those fish things. Since when does he frickin' kayak? Julie smiled at me, but it was not the same grin. It was simply polite, professional. The kind you give to a coworker, not the person you're about to go on a date with. My stomach sank. "They're amazing photos," Julie replied, returning her gaze to Matt. "I've always wanted to try kayaking but never had the chance." "You should come with me sometime," Matt added, flashing that idiotic smile that always works on ladies. "I go most weekends when the weather's good. Very peaceful out on the water." Let me tell you, this guy has never kayaked in his life. The closest he's been to a water sport is drinking beer on someone else's boat. But suddenly, Mr. Outdoorsy appeared. "That would be fantastic," Julie stated. And she really meant it. I could tell. She turned to face me. "Ryan, I didn't know your brother was so into outdoor activities." "Neither did I mumbled. But they were quickly back to scanning through his phone, which I'm sure featured stock shots of boats or images he found online. The next day, Julie found me alone in the break room. My heart skipped a beat as I wondered if the Matt encounter was all for nothing. "About Friday," she said. And I knew exactly what was coming. "I'm really sorry, but I need to reschedule. Something came up." Something came up is the worldwide code for "I found a better offer." And in this case? My brother undoubtedly made the superior deal. "No problem," I replied, attempting to sound nonchalant. "Maybe another time." Definitely, she said. With a smile. A smile that did not reach her eyes. A smile that conveys, "This is never happening." Sure enough, I found out later through an office rumor that Julie and Matt had their first date on Friday, the same day she was supposed to go out with me. At the Thai restaurant where I had planned to take her. The next week was torture. Matt strutted around the office, as if he had won the lottery. Julie flushed every time he passed past her desk. When I entered the room, the whispered talks halted. Matt casually mentioned their date during the staff meeting. I felt like garbage. Every time I try to construct something for myself, Matt swoops in and takes over as if it was never mine in the first place. And of course, things got worse. Matt tells Mom everything, so she knew about it right away. She called over the weekend, all thrilled. "Have you met this Julie that Matthew is seeing? He says she's just wonderful, so accomplished and pretty. She works at your office." "She's our office manager," I replied bluntly. "Well, isn't that nice? Matthew says she's very smart. Organized too. Sounds like she and Matthew have so much in common. They share nothing in common. Except for maybe living on the same planet. But sure, Mom. They are soulmates." Finally, I snapped. "Actually, Mom, Julie and I were supposed to go out first. I asked her out, and she said yes." But then Matt swooped in. There was a prolonged pause. I could almost hear Mom trying to assimilate this information in a way that would not make her beloved Matthew appear terrible. "Well, sweetie, you know how these things go. Sometimes people just connect. Matthew has always been so charming with the ladies. You're more, well, focused on work. Seriously. Not everyone appreciates that like they should." She basically said, "Matt's hot and fun. You're boring. Deal with it." The new power couple. And that's how it began. Matt and Julie, Taylor and Sons Plumbing's new power couple. However, the saddest aspect was not even losing Julie. It was seeing her gradually comprehend who Matt truly was, and pretending not to notice it. The cracks begin to show. He canceled arrangements with her for the first time because his friends invited him to a last-minute poker game. The day she overheard him exaggerating, or outright lying, about his function in the company to a client. She once had to cover for him when he was due to attend a networking event but was too inebriated to show up. I could see the perplexity on her face. The mental gymnastics as she attempted to reconcile the Matt she thought she was dating with the real Matt. However, by that time, they had become official. And she was in too deep. My family circles the wagons. Mom invited Julie to Sunday supper 3 weeks after they began dating. "It'll be nice to have a fresh face," she exclaimed. As if our monthly family dinners weren't already agonizing enough, especially since my work infatuation had picked my brother over me. I almost skipped dinner. But Dad made it clear that it was not optional. Family dinner is family dinner, Ryan. Be there. The dinner from hell, so I went. And it was just the nightmare you'd imagine. Mom went all out, using her best china and preparing a sumptuous roast. Dad told work stories that made Matt sound like a business prodigy. Matt performed his ideal son-boyfriend routine, pulling Julie's chair out, refilling her water glass, telling utterly fabricated stories about his wild weekends and charitable work. Julie ate it all up, laughing at Matt's jokes, questioning him about his fictitious hiking expeditions. While I sat there, knowing that Matt's closest experience with outdoor adventure is when he had to park at the far end of the mall parking lot, I attempted to join the conversation. I described the hiking trail Julie and I had discussed over our break room lunches, just to let him know what he ruined. "Oh, Matt was just telling me about that place," Julie cried, turning to him with excitement. "You've been there too?" "Been there?" Matt asked, laughing. "I practically live on that trail in the summer." "Sure." He is suddenly Bear Grylls. The promotion I deserved at supper happened 6 months ago. They have been formally dating ever since. Anyway, I focused on myself and tried to adjust, praying that things would improve for me. I persuaded myself I didn't really care about what slipped through my fingers. I knew fantastic things would happen. About a month after that dinner, I was ultimately promoted to senior operations manager. After 15 years of killing myself for this company, this was meant to be a big deal. Increased responsibility, better pay. Most importantly, the company's car. Nothing fancy, just a new Ford F-250 with ample towing capacity for transporting equipment to job sites. The announcement that almost was worth it. Dad made a major announcement during our monthly staff meeting. After years of dedicated service, Ryan is being promoted to senior operations manager. This comes with a nice raise and the new company truck we just purchased. Well deserved, son. For once, I felt as if my effort was being recognized. I even allowed myself to get enthusiastic about having a great vehicle for the first time in my life. Instead of my rusted-out Chevy, which is held together with duct tape and prayers. And then came Sunday dinner. Fast forward to Sunday dinner. Mom's preparing her renowned pot roast. Dad's talking about a client. Matt has his arm around Julie, as usual. I'm just hoping to get through the lunch without saying anything I'll regret. Then Dad clears his throat and sets down his fork. I've got an announcement to make, says the man. I immediately tighten up. Because in my family, announcements are never good news. Matt and Julie share this glance, and I know what's next. The bombshell: we're engaged, Julie announces, holding out her left hand. With this huge diamond ring, which likely cost more than my annual income. Mom breaks into joyous tears. Dad begins clapping Matt on the back. I'm sitting there in shock. The fork had frozen halfway to my mouth. This is wonderful news, Dad exclaims. My boy's finally settling down, starting a family. Then he drops the actual bomb. The ultimate betrayal. Matt, I think you and your future bride could use that new truck more than the company could. Consider it an engagement present. You'll need a good family vehicle now. Matt makes a phony, astonished face, as if this hadn't been his goal all along. Wow, Dad, that's so generous. I've finally discovered my voice. Dad, that truck is supposed to be part of my promotion package. I need it for work. For actual company business. Dad waved his hand dismissively. Now, Ryan, don't be selfish. Your brother's starting a family. Family comes first. You can keep using your old truck for now. It still runs, doesn't it? Barely, I said. But no one was listening. They were all busy praising the happy couple, discussing wedding plans and future grandchildren. The final straw. That was it? The last straw? The moment I realized I was done with this family business garbage forever. Rage was building up. I was fuming. But nevertheless, I was able to drive home in my piece of junk truck. That decided to create a worrisome rattling noise the entire journey, simply to emphasize the fact that it was on its last legs. Perfect timing. 15 years down the drain, I arrived home. And totally lost it. 15 years. 15 years of dedication, hard work, and sacrifice. 15 years of seeing Matt glide through life on charm and Dad's affection while I developed something worthwhile. Something profitable. Something that was reportedly just turned over, again, to my brother. And now Julie. The only wonderful thing that had happened to me in years was presented to Matt on a silver platter. Complete with an engagement ring and a company truck. I don't think I've ever been so angry in my life. It wasn't even hot or explosive. It was this cold, controlled wrath that suddenly made everything crystal apparent. I was never going to be valued by this family. I was never going to receive what I deserved. I was merely the workhorse, the dependable one they could dump on while Golden Boy received all the glory. The email that changed everything. I grabbed my laptop and checked my email. I looked at the blank compose window for around 10 seconds. Then I started typing. Subject, my resignation. Dad, I am quitting from Taylor & Sons Plumbing, effective immediately. Consider this my 2-week notice, though realistically, you'll be lucky if I make it through the week. I plan to pursue other options. Sincerely, not really, Ryan Taylor. I pushed send before I could back out. Then I sent a separate email to our HR person, who is essentially the bookkeeper who handles payroll, about my accumulated vacation time. I advised them that I would start taking it immediately. I had no intention of returning to the office. The fallout begins. Within minutes, my phone began to blow up. Dad is phoning. Matt texted only WTF and stupid emoticons. Mom left sobbing voicemails about how I was tearing the family apart and being overly dramatic. Then Julie called. I let that call go to voicemail. Ryan, it's Julie. Your dad told me you quit. What's going on? Please call me back. As if she didn't know. As if she hadn't been a part of the entire disaster. I disregarded them all. I turned off the phone and began updating my resume. I was finished. I'm done being the family's workhorse. I'm tired of watching Matt get everything he wants while I labor myself to death for scraps of attention. The confrontation dad arrived at my apartment the next morning at 7 a.m. He pounded on the door, as if he were attempting to break it down. What the hell, Ryan? He yelled when I finally opened it, still in my pajamas and unprepared for this showdown. Quitting over email? After everything this family has done for you? I honestly laughed at his face. Done for me? You mean like paying me less than the market wage for 15 years while Matt receives bonuses simply for showing up to work? Or how about offering me a business vehicle as part of my promotion and then giving it to Matt as an engagement present? The excuses? That's different, Dad said, his face flushing. Matt's starting a family. He needs our support. And I don't? I've been supporting this entire family for years. Who do you think keeps the business going while Matt is away enjoying 2-hour lunches and posting on Instagram? Dad's face became even redder. Do not talk about your brother in that way. Matt brings in clients, he is the company's face. And I am what? What about the workhorse? The sucker who actually performs the work while Matt takes all the credit? I am done, Dad. Let Matt manage your business. You don't need me, anyway. The final goodbye. I started to close the door, but Dad's foot got in the way. Classic. You walk away from this company, you walk away from this family, he told me. It was all very dramatic, as if we were watching a horrible television program. I looked him dead in the eyes. If this is how family treats each other, maybe it's for the best, I replied, pushing the door so firmly that Dad had to shift his foot. He pounded and yelled for a bit before giving up and leaving. The aftermath begins. The next day, Matt arrived. I didn't even open the door, but yelled through it that he needed to go before I called the cops. He attempted the "come on, bro, don't be like that" thing, but I wasn't buying it. Mom called repeatedly, crying about how I was breaking your father's heart and tearing the family apart. As if I were the problem here. As if the 15 years of favoritism and disdain were my fault. But, you know what? I've never felt more free in my life. A new beginning. The job search was shockingly easy. That first week, I got 3 interviews, all with larger and more professional organizations than my father's. Both of them made offers. I accepted the position with Wilson Plumbing and Heating, a competitor across town. They're tiny but developing quickly, and the owner, Dave Wilson, values experience and hard effort. Isn't this a novel concept? What is the best part? They offered me a partnership track, in writing. After 2 years, I'll have the chance to buy in and become a part owner. Despite 15 years of service, my father never considered gifting me this. Oh, and they gave me a business truck. A brand new Ford F-350 Super Duty. Better than what Dad took from me. Fully loaded, with the firm logo on the side and everything. During my first week, I made sure to drive past my parents' house. Petty? Yeah. Satisfying? Of course. Watching Taylor & Sons fall apart, meanwhile, the Taylor & Sons enterprise crumbled without me. I've been receiving texts from some of the plumbers, who were truly nice guys, and their stories are better than any revenge fantasy I could have imagined. Week 1. Dad attempts to take over. Dad tried to handle operations on his own while I was gone. He hasn't done the job in 15 years. He had no idea how my scheduling system operated. He ended up scheduling 3 distinct crews on the same day. Then there was no one available for an emergency call at the hospital. That's a large account that I've personally managed for years. They were not pleased. Week 2, Matt gets promoted. Dad delegated responsibility for operations to Matt since he was in over his head. Matthew. He can't even remember to arrange his own dental appointments. Predictably, it was a complete disaster. According to my friend Steve, one of the senior plumbers, Matt arrived late every day. He spent most of his time on the phone with Julie or his friends. Couldn't answer simple job-specific questions. They lost one of our second-largest commercial contracts entirely because Matt failed to submit the renewal papers. The account was worth $50,000 each year. Gone. Matt was too busy posting gym selfies or whatever it is he does all day. The dominoes keep falling. The scheduling is so disorganized that they have had to call clients the night before to reschedule. This is infuriating everyone. Their online ratings have plummeted from 4.8 to 3.2 stars in only 3 weeks. Dad is blaming the new system. My system. Not the fools attempting to run it. The office chaos. One of the office employees resigned because Matt continued to blame her for his failures. Accounts receivable are stacking up because no one is invoicing on time. That was another thing I managed that no one seemed to know about. But I didn't expect. Did Dad have to take out a short-term loan to cover payroll? Because their cash flow is all messed up. 3 weeks ago, the business was solidly profitable, is currently struggling to stay afloat. And Julie? Apparently, she stays up late every night to keep things functioning. But she is an office manager, not an operations professional. She can arrange files and answer phones all day, but she knows nothing about schedule plumbing jobs. Managing a group of 15 plumbers. Handling various talents and certifications. She didn't realize what she was getting into with my family. Have you made your bed? Lie in it. The Taylor family breaks apart. Mom has been messaging me nonstop, increasingly desperate messages. Your father's working 16-hour days trying to sort out the schedule. Matt's really trying, but he doesn't understand your system. We had to tell 3 clients we can't get to them this week. Notice that none of these messages contain an actual apology. Or an admission that they messed up. Classic Taylor family. Dad's breaking point. Dad left me only one message, slurring his words as if he had been drinking. This business was okay prior to your sophisticated systems, and it will be fine afterwards. You think you're irreplaceable? No one is. Yes, Dad. Keep reminding yourself of this, while your business rings the drain. Matt's panic mode. Matt's messages have progressed from phony brotherly concern, hey bro, everyone's worried about you. A barely veiled panic. Do you still have the login for the scheduling software? Dad can't find it. To outright desperation. Seriously, dude, just tell me how you handled the Henderson specs. Their project manager is freaking out. Julie's half-hearted attempt. Am I the only one who hasn't reached out much? Julie. She sent one email to my personal account about a week after my departure. It was lengthy and full of apologies about how she never meant to hurt me, and how things with Matt just happened. And, of course, she hoped we might remain friends. Finally, almost as an afterthought. If you have time, could you possibly write up how you handled the scheduling? We're having some issues. I removed it without replying. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Oh, and the truck? Apparently, it's creating an odd sound. Matt had the audacity to ask if I could look at it, according to his most recent text message. The truck that should have been mine. The truck was part of my promotion but was given to him as an engagement present. I laughed out and then deleted it without answering. Not my truck, not my problem. A new life at Wilson. Meanwhile, I've been at Wilson for 2 weeks now, and it feels like I've entered a parallel dimension where competence is truly respected. Dave asks for my thoughts on operations. My ideas are executed rather than disregarded. The employees appreciate me for my experience, not because I am the boss's son. Yesterday I fully revamped their service call routing system. Dave was so amazed that he offered me a bonus on the spot. A bonus? For executing my job well. What a concept. And then I met Kate. About a week after starting my new job, I met someone. Kate. She's an architect I met on the job site while we were working on the plumbing for a new office building. Smart. Funny. Director. Not playing any games. Kate is nothing like Julie. Kate is real, whereas Julie was always polished and proper. She comes up to dates wearing jeans and boots. She can talk athletics as readily as she talks design. And calls me out on my nonsense in the most refreshing way. She doesn't engage in games. She doesn't say what I want to hear. Kate delivers exactly what she promises. Our third date. For our third date, we went hiking to a waterfall I'd wanted to see for years. Just 2 folks that genuinely enjoy each other's company. I showed her some urgent texts from my relatives. She simply shook her head. They had gold and treated it like dirt. Their loss. My gain. Then she kissed me, and I completely forgot about the family business for the rest of the day. Perhaps for months. A chance encounter. This weekend, Kate and I were at the hardware store, purchasing supplies for my bathroom project, when I noticed them. Matt and Julia. Great. Just as I was enjoying a normal Saturday with my girlfriend. Kate clasped my hand when Julie saw us and yelled out. Matt turned around, appearing as if he'd rather be somewhere else. Hey, bro. I kept it brief. Hey. Julie's gaze immediately focused on Kate, then on our linked hands. How have you been? Good. Really good. This is Kate. I introduced them as Julie sized her up. Kate, the absolute champion, grinned and shook their hands. One, nice to meet you both. I've heard a lot about you. Matt's panicked expression. Priceless? The truck problem. Julie inquired about our supplies. Renovating Ryan's bathroom, Kate explained. I'm an architect, handling the design. An architect? That's impressive, Julie exclaimed, suddenly self-conscious. She's an office manager at my family's company, I told her. Why not slightly twist the knife? It turns out they were there because of the truck. You know, the one that kept making strange noises. And of course, Matt had no idea how to fix it. I couldn't resist. The company truck. The one that was supposed to be mine. Matt had the decency to appear embarrassed. Yeah, that one. He had no regrets about what he'd done. Julie's apology. Kind of, Kate, ever the pro, Expertly devised an exit route including some fictitious dinner appointments. Julie hesitated as we turned to leave. "Can I have a moment alone?" Kate questioned me, but I nodded. She gripped my hand before moving away. Julie moaned, appearing tireder than I had ever seen her. "The engagement? Taking it slow?" Translation: Matt's true colors were showing. "The business? Not the same without you." Apparently, they had hired 2 individuals to replace me, but they were still lagging behind. "Matt. Different since you left?" "Yeah, working for the first time in his life will accomplish this." She shifted uneasily and tucked her hair behind her ear. "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. For coming between you and your brother." I nearly laughed, not in a harsh way, but rather in a "wow, you really didn't get it" sense. "You, Julie, were not the problem. You were simply a symptom of a much larger problem. My family has never valued me." "What about the truck?" "That was just the last straw." She chewed her lip and glanced at Kate. "She seems nice. You two look good together." "We are," I said without hesitation. "She sees me for who I am." Julie nodded as if she understood. But I wasn't convinced she really did. In any case, I was not going to remain around to explain. Mom's final attempt on the way home, my phone rang. "Mom." I'm not sure why I answered. She sounded surprised when I picked up, but she recovered fast, jumping right into the guilt trip. "They miss me. The business is floundering. Matt is overwhelmed. Sunday dinners aren't complete without me." I let her babble while waiting for the inevitable request. "You should come by soon. Maybe we can figure things out." "I'm busy every Sunday for the foreseeable future," I told her, maintaining my voice level. Kate smirked as she overheard from the driver's seat. "Want me to say I told you so? Or would you prefer to just bask in the schadenfreude?" "Definitely basking," I replied, smirking. No going back. Later that night, as we lay twisted on the couch, watching some bizarre true crime documentary, Kate looked at me. "Would you ever consider going back to the family business?" I didn't even need to think about it. Not even for a second. She grinned, delighted with the response. "I'm not sure what will happen with Taylor and Sons Plumbing. Perhaps they can figure it out. Perhaps they will crash and burn. Either way, not my problem. What do I know? Sometimes the best thing you can do is move away from individuals who don't appreciate you. Even if they are family. Especially if they are family. It took me 15 years in a company truck to learn this lesson. Better late than never." Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.